Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. When did you get home from school? Mm-hmm. Yeah? What'd you say? Yeah, honey, go out and play, okay? Yeah, it's a beautiful day outside. Okay. Dinner will be ready in 30 minutes, okay? Mommy just needs to put it in the oven. Let's Uber Eats. Okay, then. Do you deserve to have children? Or should you keep your eggs firmly unseated and avoid seeding other people's eggs because you kind of don't deserve it? A recent article just came out titled, "It's So Boring. Gen Z parents don't like reading to their kids." And educators are worried. And since I'm going to be a mom soon, that's right, 5 months pregnant, I just couldn't resist discussing this. Welcome back to Montenegro, still here. I decided to switch my view around so you can actually see my mountains. See my mountains. They're pretty, right? Yeah. It's still kind of loud outside, but I feel like last time my audio wasn't so bad. This time I'm trying to do it without the sunglasses so you can actually see my face. So I'm going to be like furrowed brows a bit, but I feel like it's fine. It's fine. I'm wearing sunscreen, and while it's 27 degrees outside, it's actually not that bad. I'm feeling good in the shade. Because this time I didn't even try it in the sun first. I already knew. I was like, wait until the time when the shade comes onto the porch and just, that's when you're going to film. But let's talk about today's video. Okay, so the article references a study done in the UK. And this is what it says. New research reveals that parents are losing the love of reading aloud. Okay. It's done by HarperCollins, which, if you never heard of them, is one of the big 5 publishing houses, like a major publishing house. And I'm specifying that because it's always important to see where a study is done and how it took place. But the article doesn't specify any of that at all.
Actually, I messed up and it does say the methodology. There was a study done called Understanding the Children's Books Consumer in December 2024. So I apologize.
They just cite fear-mongering statistics, like 29% of children aged 5 to 13 thinks reading is just more of a subject to learn as opposed to something that's supposed to be fun, which is 4% more than 2022. Terrifying. More than 1 in 5 boys, 22%, aged 0 to 2, are rarely or never read to. Only 29% of boys versus 44% of girls are read to. Oh no, gender inequality. But again, the only thing that's citing this is HarperCollins reveals new research. So now we have to ask ourselves, is this a reliable study and should we be worried? That is actually something I've learned fairly recently in my life, right? Everyone's like, don't believe everything you read and whatever, but then it's like, study show this, study show that, and you're like, oh, a study shows it. Well, clearly it must be true. But what study? How was it done? How many people were in the study? You got to know these things. So that's what I'm starting off with. Now, as to the first question, is this study reliable? I have no idea. They could be bullying parents into buying more books for their children, guilting them into reading to them more. That would make sense. They are a publishing house, right? You got to look at their bottom line. But I don't think that matters. Should we be worried? Yes, because all you need to do is look around and you can tell what's happening to this generation of parents. People glued to their phones or filming their kids crying. It's not such a big jump to assume they don't have the time or the inclination to read to their children. But I think there's an important thing to note in the fact that Gen Z is being called out, and I'll explain why in a moment. When I heard of this article and when I read it, I immediately wanted to know kind of what the discourse would be on it, so I scoured the forums, because how else do you do the market research to find out what the masses are saying, right? And people do have a varied amount of opinions, but it kind of depends, again, where you're reading these opinions. Everything has to be sourced back to like, okay, who's talking about this? What are they saying? Why are they saying this? All very relevant. So, in defense of Gen Z, I found a subreddit called Science-Based Parenting, and they were discussing this article. And here's where it was interesting, because people were actually asking the relevant questions, like who was in the study, who did the study, what were the socioeconomics of the people involved in the study, because this isn't unique to Gen Z. There's always been a difference in the parents who are affluent and, let's say, living off one paycheck. So you have one parent working and another parent able to just take care of their kids, have the time for them and the patience for them because they're not sitting at a job all day, versus parents of, 2 paychecks. So kids of 2 paychecks. So parents are both working full-time jobs, or immigrants who are maybe even working more than that, right, all day, who come home and don't have the energy to read to their kids. You're gonna have differences in the children that are brought up from these two different types of parents. And what I was saying before about specifying Gen Z, Gen Z parents are like up to 28 years old. If you've already become a parent at that young age, then you're a young parent. And young parents are going to be different than their older counterparts, simply because they're more mature, less settled in life, less financially stable, unsure what they're doing, surrounded by friends who are probably still single and just want to party it up. Of course, it's going to be different. This isn't primarily a Gen Z thing. This is more of a young parents thing, if I had to make an educated guess. But then again, let's think about who Gen Zers are. They're the ones who grew up with smartphones, the ones weaned on social media, and if you didn't take a picture, it didn't happen. They're also probably the ones most affected, excluding Gen Alpha, who are hopefully not parents yet, by the monopoly that companies have on their mind and the short attention span created from that. And the fact that attention is the most important commodity nowadays. And they're being exploited and probably seeing the side effects the most. Oh, and let's not forget that they had to go through high school and college during a pandemic. Yeah, take that into consideration. All this isn't to give them an excuse and say that, not reading to your kids isn't awful. It's just to give a little perspective. Also, the article in question that we're discussing references an Instagram poll. An Instagram poll. Like, is that what we're using nowadays to make informed studies? Just who exactly is responding to an Instagram poll? Probably people who are on Instagram all day, because I've never responded to an Instagram poll in my life. I'm not on Instagram, really. Get shortly addicted, and then I'm like, what are you doing, Sherry? Back it up, and then I swear it off for a long time, and it really works, But tangent, okay. But also the counter argument is too easy to make. There's a literacy crisis in America. Remember the article about how elite college students don't finish their English reports or whatever it was? It was basically like they don't read, actually, like elite college students. And if those kids now become parents, what are we left with? Well, I have to wonder, were they ready for this ginormous task? And kind of that's where I come in with my opinions. I'm maybe a little biased, but my opinion has always been that young people should not have children until they're ready. And yeah, people like to say, oh, you're never ready, blah, 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 blah. The only people saying that are going to be the ones who are benefiting from you having a child, like your friends who don't want to be the only mom in the group who has to leave at 8 to go put their kid to sleep. But there are things that will make you feel ready versus not. Like the sacrifice that comes from having children. I'm literally sacrificing my body right now, hopefully temporarily, to my little baby fetus. Like that's how it works, And if I wasn't ready for that, I would be resentful and upset and angry that, like, hey, I'm tired all the time. I don't have the same amount of energy. My body looks different, but I want this baby. So I'm very excited, and all of that's worth it. I'm willing to make the sacrifice. But before, I was not ready for that. I come from a culture where people get married young and have children young. And like, that's not wrong, but it's not for everyone. I got married 6 years ago, and I just, like I said, I wasn't ready until recently. So I waited. People were like, where's the baby? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'll let you know. And when I got ready, well, you know what? Now I'm ready to stay in and read to my child at night instead of going out and partying, Different stage of life, different expectations for what I want for myself. And it just makes sense if you're an older parent versus a younger parent. And maybe sacrificing everything is a tall order for a parent, but I fully believe that that's what you need to be a good parent. If you're choosing to be a parent, you should be ready to sacrifice everything. It shouldn't be a flippant decision like, whoops, forgot my birth control. Okay, let's have a child. And then they have the child, and then they pop the child down in front of a screen, and they don't read to them because they're busy or whatever other garbage reason that they have that isn't working a bunch of jobs to put food on the table. So while I was reading the subreddit books, which is extremely biased because it's a bunch of people who very much enjoy reading, but, so do I. And I really enjoyed the discussion on it. I saw lots of comments bemoaning Gen Z needing to constantly be entertained. One person said, this This was crazy. My Gen Z coworkers told me they watch movies while scrolling TikTok. Like, they'll be watching something epic like Gladiator and they won't watch the movie. They'll watch TikTok and listen to the movie. That's so messed up. It's literally insane. And it's probably not unique to Gen Z, but it's insane that people can't just sit and do one thing, you know, or do nothing. And then everyone thinks they have ADHD. It's like, no, there are some people who have ADD or ADHD, whatever, for sure. But a lot of people just have control problems. Others are just in a constant state of needing to be entertained, unable to, you know, take a breath, take a moment, and just breathe. You gotta work to quiet your mind. Try meditation. This is where I say I'm sponsored by Headspace, but I'm not. But you know what? It's an app I've used and people love it. I'm not currently using it right now. Now I would say I'm more focused on yoga, which is my meditation, which I know is not strictly meditation. I'm actually doing something. But yeah, actually meditation is very hard. I should really get back into it. But at least I can read, okay? Anyways, my favorite comment actually on that subreddit was, this is not how we were told the zombie apocalypse was gonna look. Because everybody's just a bunch of like mindless zombies, just like, must be entertained. Brains. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're like consuming entertainment and TikTok instead of books, instead of brains, I think I meant to say, right? Because zombies do brains. Okay. And if you can't read to your kids because it's boring, I'm sorry, what did you think having children would look like? A perfectly curated social media feed? Like, having kids is boring sometimes. I mean, have you ever watched Little League Baseball? That is boring. But you know what? If you love your kid, you kind of take them to Little League Baseball and you watch them do it because they want to be like, mommy, watch me play. God, if you're just like on your phone the whole time and they're looking over and they're wanting to like you to see them totally miss the ball coming at them, like, why does that just like break my heart a little bit? You know, every kid deserves a parent. Not every parent deserves to have a kid. That is one of those expressions I really like, you know, very relevant. But you know what? Why read to your kids? All of this is like just a lot of, oh my gosh, people aren't reading to kids. They're so bored all the time. It's boring, whatever, blah, blah. But why do we want people to read to their kids? Because that has been proven over and over again, right? If you read to your kids will be smarter. They will have a higher vocabulary, better attention spans. I mean, just reading is overall so important for children, for society in general. It's important to start them young. We want a future world of literate people who are smart and capable and have good comprehension of words, for sure. We want thinkers and believers and creators, and a lot of that just starts at day one with reading to your children. Or do you not want the world to look like that? Do you want it to be like Fahrenheit 451, a bunch of mindless robots just being like fed things all the time, being entertained constantly, and like books being burnt at the stake? That book was terrifying. While this isn't a Gen Z problem exclusively, it is a young parent problem where Gen Z is kind of falling right nowadays. And I think it's important to be addressed. Like, how can we help people who are parents handle this enormous task? Because, you know, it takes a village. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you did not like this video, give it a thumbs down and let me know why in the comments. If you don't let me know why, I will never improve. Thank you. Subscribe for more bookish content, discussing books, discussing why they're awesome, reviews, recommendations, stuff like that. The end.